Hi chess friends, this is King's Executor, and this is the coverage of the Group C on round 1 from the Tata Stell Tournament 2013. There are the groups A, B and C, and the group A has the strongest grandmasters, and the group C has of course strong players as well. In this game, Krikor Sevag Mekhitarian, rated 25-43, played against Twan Burg, rated 24-92. But before we get started off, I just want to say something about the choice of my name. Well, the meaning of King's Executor, or the executor of the king, shouldn't be confused with the executioner of the king. So the name doesn't express any killing of the king, rather it's expressing that we are the person or the medium that really does the moves that the king at the board wants us to be played, so that the piece is protected and the opponent gets mated, hopefully. And this is a poetical choice and has nothing to do with the executioner, as I said. So we are executing the moves which our king thinks is best. That's the first part, the first reason. And the second reason is this game is the game of the kings. It's the royal game. So choosing a name with the king involved really comes from itself and has nothing to do with any sort of copying whatsoever, what some of you might think, because there is of course a King's Crusher, but I choose my name way before I knew him, because I choose it on several chess servers, and I choose this name, and I didn't know him. And I think the game of kings makes it really clear that you can choose any name having the king involved. So I hope that this discussion is ended with this. Okay, back to Mekhitarian against Burg. This is a game from the Group C, and it's a very nice model game of how to prepare a kingside attack with white and how to take over the control of the position. Mekhitarian opened with e4, and Burg wanted to really draw this game. This is a drawing attempt with the Caro-Kann. Playing c6 and d5 as black is really solid, and this is the advanced variation with d5. The bishop gets out of the pawn chain, so it's no bad piece. You see on c8 this bishop would have no prospects yet. So just dropping back, at grandmaster level, having black, you really want to draw games, and with white you want to win games. Winning with black is really difficult at grandmaster level, so the winning idea of the tournament is not to lose with black and trying to win with white. And the other way to do it could have been getting into a Petrov. Okay, but the Caro-Kann is a very solid response as well. Knight to f3 and e6, all standard mainline moves. Knight to d7, castles, knight to e7, already I don't like very much black's position. I mean, the center is closed, so black has time to do these time-consuming maneuvers, but black is just waiting and giving white time to do whatever he wishes. Knight to c6, a4. Now this is the first sign of having ambitions taking over the game. Bishop e7, preparing to castle, and a5. A very nice move, really trying to kill black hopes on the queen side. a6 was played. Really not a move I really like much. You see the b6 pawn point is weakened, which is not the theme of the game, but in some positions it surely could be the theme. You can just see in some positions maybe the rerouting of the knight, but in this game other themes have taken place, and this is introduced with c4. c4 is really an attempt to take over the whole board. On the king side, black has yet no activity, so Mekhitarian really tries to close any pawn break attempts from black on the queen side, and afterwards he can look forward to maneuver his pieces slowly and gradually to the king side. At this stage of the game, black probably should take the pawn. This is my analysis. After knight takes c4, the point and the feature of this position is the d6 square. Will white be able to make use of this square as an outpost? Well, I could castle here, and after queen to b3, attacking the pawn, rook to b8, defending it, bishop d2 to b4 to make use of, or to emphasize the dark squares, especially d6. Knight to a7 is the point of my suggestion, and after bishop to b4, knight comes to b5 and really watches over d6 and pressurizes the backwarded d-pawn of white. After rook to d1 and rook e8, we can exchange the bishop, hoping to leave black with the weakened dark squares. Rook to c1, bishop e4, maneuvering into the center, and I think this is a playable position. At some point rook to c8 and c5 should free black's game. But Twan Burg didn't take this pawn and didn't take his opportunity to get active. Well, his drawing attempt, you know, the attempt of drawing with black doesn't mean that you have to play passively. You just have to play risk-free. But with playing too passively, you see c5, an excellent move, and f6 by black, trying to unravel his position. And b4. Well, taking on f6 would be no good because you pull black's pieces more forward, and afterwards e6 to e5 could be prepared. So b5 e5 is really a nice move, because at some point you want to get your rook into the game, and doing it immediately would leave this pawn unprotected, and the queen is watching it. So b4, and I think in this position knight to a7 still would have been an important move to do now, before doing anything else. But maybe black was afraid of a kingside attack here, but how could white manage to maneuver his pieces there? Well, I think it's not possible directly. For example, knight to h4 would be senseless. Takes, 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 and now you see black's position is freed. The pieces are harmonious. The knights get into the middle of the board. Knight to b5 is next here. The black bishop is very good because all the pawns are on the opposite colored squares, so the bishop is free to move. Black has space in the center, and he has actually pawns in the center, which white hasn't got anymore. So knight to h4 would be senseless. So knight to a7 would have been the active attempt to keep the game going, but Burg took on e5, and I think this is a strategical mistake already, because you're giving white the d4 square. Well, if you would give this position to a chess engine, it would consider it rather equal. But the problem is that the positions are not equally easy to play. That makes this position for us humans clearly better for white, because white is attacking and maneuvering easily with his space advantage, and black really has a hard job to do finding the best moves. Queen to e8 and rook to e1, preparing the knight maneuver via f1, which we see now. Knight to a7 now is a little too late. Knight to g3, and now an interesting and imaginative try by white here. Well, the engine suggests knight to d4, and if takes, what we have here, takes, and well, if takes here to protect the bishop, then f3 is possible even, and this is, well, leaving black with a bad position. So Mekhitarian chose another way here with bishop to d3, provoking black into doubling his pawns, with the idea of kingside attack. g6 really stopping f5, and now king to h1, the first sign of a strong kingside attack. King h1, king h8, bishop to e3, not a necessary move, but okay, it's connecting the rooks, because beforehand this was the idea, but now that would take too long, so probably bishop to e3 prepares such a maneuver here. Okay. Rook to g8, queen to g4, getting all your pieces involved. The bishop is rerouting to g7. Knight to e2. In this position, the knight has no future, so rerouting it is a good idea. And you see d4 is just the square that black gave to white by capturing the pawn, and white could recapture. And you see this effectiveness now of white using this positional factor. Knight to b5 now is not possible, of course, yet, because the pawn is attacked on e6, so black has to defend, and with rook to g1, knight to b5 now is not a good moment to play it. Well, I think this idea should have been played before, because you don't exchange your pieces for this offside knight on b5. You get your pieces involved to the kingside attack, and if black try to get into e4, he doesn't get this opportunity to this attack with tempo. The queen has to move, and now e4 is covered, and this would just lose a pawn here. The pawn would be lost. Afterwards, the d6 square belongs to white, even the whole file probably. So queen to h3 would be the continuation. So you remember Burg played his knight to a7 in the opening, and now he moves it back. This is the first sign of black having misplayed the opening. Knight to f3, queen to h3, giving the rooks room to get into the game. Knight to e7, rook to g4, knight to f4 looks good, but simply rook to g1, rook d8, knight h4, and this is really nice for white. I think this position is already lost for black. Bishop to h6, this is the blunder in a desperate position. Well, this opens up g-file and some tactical opportunities, and if white took on f5, and if black would have taken with the pawn, you see the knight is immune here due to mate on g8, and if bishop to g7, this knight becomes a monster here. And after a move like queen to c7 and rook to h4, well, e6 is really killer move, threatening a devastating check, and black would be forced to give up the queen, and the knight cannot take this pawn because he has to watch over h7, and well, giving up this pawn really doesn't make black's life easier, giving up the rook, I mean, sorry. So in this position, black didn't take the bishop on f5. He rather tried a desperate attempt by d4, and now you can sacrifice your pieces because black is uncoordinated. The queen protects the bishop, and the white bishop drops back. Black is allowed to take on g6, but now, after rook takes on g6, king h7, can you spot the move which is clearly winning this game? Well, of course, it's f5, unleashing the bishop, and black even, I don't know if Burg was under time pressure, but he allowed white to mate him and allowed him to end this game with an honorable finishing mate. Well, He deserved it. A nice game by Mekhitarian, really showing you how to shut the game down on the queen side. And black really was too passive, and this is never a good idea. The key thing in chess is to be active, as possible. And a5 here was the starting of taking over with the game. And with c4, here was the possibility for black to take and try to get active with knight to b5 here. But after leaving the game, or the decisions of the game, to white, this game was clearly in white's hands. And afterwards, the king side was white's. I hope you got something out of the game. Please comment, like, subscribe, keep it up with the clicks, and I shall make more videos. Thanks very much.